Pressure is mounting on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to take stronger action to show accountability in the face of a corruption scandal presenting the greatest threat to his government since Russia's full-scale invasion. According to Associated Press last week, Zelensky dismissed 2 top officials and imposed sanctions on close associates after government investigators revealed that $100 million had been embezzled from the energy sector through kickbacks paid by contractors. But that hasn't quieted the political storm. After more than 3 years of war in which Ukrainians face regular power outages as a result of Russia's fierce bombardment, allegations of corruption in the energy sector aren't sitting well with the public. Calls are growing for Zelensky to remove his longtime chief of staff, Andrii Yermak, considered by many to be Ukraine's de facto vice president. Neither Zelensky nor Yermak have been accused of any wrongdoing by those leading the corruption investigation. Yet Zelensky's political opponents as well as allies worried the scandal could weaken their parliamentary governing coalition say more senior leaders need to be held accountable to restore public trust. Zelensky's term officially ended in May 2024, but he has continued to govern without elections, saying they cannot be held while Russia is occupying a fifth of the country. His critics say it's also important to bolster credibility with Ukraine's Western allies, whose support is vital to the war effort and in eventually negotiating an end to the conflict. Ukraine has been plagued by corruption since gaining independence, and Zelensky was elected on a mandate to eliminate graft. 2 officials in Zelensky's office say the president has not made any decision to dismiss Yermak. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to brief journalists. The investigation conducted by Ukraine's anti-corruption watchdogs implicated high-ranking officials with pressuring contractors to pay up to 15% kickbacks in exchange for construction business with Ukraine's state-owned nuclear energy company, Energodom. The investigation involved over 1,000 hours of wiretaps of individuals using code names and cryptic language to discuss the scheme. In some conversations, references were made to a powerful figure operating under the alias Alibaba, though this person's identity has not been made public, if it is even known. After the scheme was made public, Ukraine's parliament approved Zelensky's dismissal of the energy and justice ministers. His office imposed sanctions on close associates who were implicated, including Timur Mindich, a co-owner of Zelensky's media production company. The scandal landed just as Russian airstrikes had left millions of Ukrainians without power, which only intensified the furor. Earlier this year, Zelensky faced criticism for trying to weaken the watchdog agencies leading the investigation.
It has been a very tough week for Ukraine's President Zelensky. He is facing pressure from home after a major corruption scandal, and he is facing pressure from abroad after the Americans presented him with a peace plan developed with Russia that includes conditions that are deeply unfavorable to Kyiv. Now, Zelensky's political faction is pressuring him to fire his long-term chief of staff, Andrii Yermak. Yermak is a deeply controversial figure here in Ukraine. Some even call him Ukraine's vice president because he wields outsized influence over domestic and foreign affairs. Zelensky's allies are saying that he needs to do more to ensure that his governing coalition and parliament doesn't collapse as a result of this scandal. This scandal arose after anti-corruption watchdogs revealed a $100 million embezzlement scheme that implicated Ukrainian officials, even those close to Zelensky. Zelensky's critics are also saying that he needs to do more to bolster his credibility with Ukraine's Western allies. Now, on top of this, Zelensky was presented with a 28-point peace plan from the Trump administration, which includes conditions that have long been rejected by Zelensky, including ceding territory in the Donbass and also weakening Ukraine's armed forces. Zelensky has said that these conditions are simply unjust and unconstitutional.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Turkey Wednesday in search of diplomatic support for Ukraine's fight against Russia. According to Associated Press in Ankara, Zelensky began his visit by honoring the memory of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the first president of Turkey, at the Ataturk Mausoleum. Later, he will meet Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as part of his efforts to diplomatically isolate Russian President Vladimir Putin and bring more international pressure to bear on him. Putin has so far resisted making compromises, despite US pressure. Foremost, we will discuss maximum capabilities to ensure that Ukraine achieves a just peace, Zelensky said of his talks with Erdogan, adding that the leaders have good relations. Zelensky also said, "We see some positions and signals from the United States, well, let's see tomorrow." He didn't elaborate, but tough new American sanctions on Russia's oil industry, devised to push Putin to the negotiating table, are due to take effect on Friday. A senior Turkish official initially said that US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff would join Zelensky in Turkey, but backtracked later in the day and said Witkoff wouldn't be coming. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity Tuesday because he wasn't permitted to speak publicly about the arrangements.
Ukrainians have